Given that for the last 2.5 hours, Brisbane have effectively toyed with Carlton, I thought it was a good chance to look at the fact that the two best clubs in the competition, Collingwood and Brisbane, are highly likely to be the best teams not only this year, but over the next year or so. However, with Collingwood's age profile, it looks like that they may, and I say may, lose that contender status maybe a little bit quicker than Brisbane. I think it's time we ask and analyse the question of just how long can Brisbane be successful for? And just how gift-wrapped has this list been? Let's talk about it. Well, the good news for Brisbane, in a sense, is that if we stack them up against teams that won multiple flags, the most recent ones, of course, being Richmond and Hawthorn, is that their over 30 profile looks really good. Now, Richmond in 2019 only had the 4 players over the age of 30. The Hawks in 2015 had the 6, and Brisbane have got the 6 as well. Those being Zorko, Neil, Ryan Lester, whichever ruckman they go with, Charlie Cameron, and either Sam Day or Darcy Gardner, whichever one they go with. I think Gardner gives them a lot more flexibility. He was their sub tonight, which was a weird decision, although it worked with Noah Ainsworth going down. And fingers crossed he is okay. At the time of recording, it looks like an ankle, but we'll see how that goes. So that works out beautifully. Now, the difference that they've got between, say, a Richmond or a Hawthorn, and of course, it is not a fait accompli that they're going to become an amazing side. They may not even win the flag this year. They may not even go on to have the kind of dynasty success, but we can't deny that they have set themselves up for that. Now, the initial thing that's going to come out of this and that everyone is thinking at this point in time is, yeah, no shit, they have the academy. And of course, that is a fair point. I'm not going to deny that for a moment. When you look at guys like Eric Hipwood, the Ashcroft brothers, Jasper Fletcher, and then you're going to be looking at getting in Sam Marshall, who has played, I think, a game at this point. You're going to be getting a top 5 guy in Daniel Annable. You're going to be getting another 3 potential academy kids this year. Isaac Weller, who is the tall forward. You have also got Raf, Jisoo, and the middle guy that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me at this point in time, which is annoying. Harrison Bridge is his name. So, look, that helps, obviously, in order to have that success. And I think a lot of people are going to say that Collingwood are in a similar path, considering their father, sons, and all that. Now, I kind of feel bad for Josh Dacos in that argument because he actually wasn't bid on by another club, but alas, we can move on. However, the profile of Brisbane's list as it stands, however unfair that you want to think it is, and we could debate about this for an hour and a half, and whilst I do not agree with academies and father-sons the way that it is built, just going, well, it was gift right to them and we move on, I think is a little bit narrow-minded because you still need to be able to build a list. As we saw with GWS, especially towards the back end of the 2010s, is that a stacked list can get you only so far. You still need other things to go right. And Brisbane have done a lot of things at the trade table and the draft table that have set them up for success, which is not just who is the best kid in the country that is tied to us, right? Now, in terms of the guys that are 22 and under, that list is frightening. Darcy Wilmot, Kyle Oman, Jasper Fletcher, Will Ashcroft, Logan Morris, and Levi. Yes, 3 of those guys there are the aforementioned academy guys, but there's still some pretty good names. And again, that's not including guys that could get in. Will McLaughlin, we've seen a little bit this year, the aforementioned Sam Marshall, Bruce Revel, Shadow Brain. These guys could come in and have a role somewhere as a bit parts player, but fully fit, I wouldn't expect any of them to get a gig. Fully fit, I'm not even sure Daniel Annable would get into this side, but I still think he is the best kid in the country right now, which is not something a lot of other draft experts are agreeing on. But as far as well-roundedness goes, he just fits the bill perfectly for me. But what's even more dangerous about this Brisbane squad is the guys hitting their prime, 26 to 29. And so many of these guys actually had to beat accusations, I suppose, of being flaky or inconsistent. None more so than Cam Rayner. You've got Zach Bailey that we can add to that list, who is having his most consistent season by the length of Flemington Straight at this point in time. And then you can also include names like Hugh McCluggage, Jack Payne, Noah Amsworth, Jared Berry, Callum Archie, Josh Dunkley, Eric Hipwood, and Harris Andrews. You are definitely looking at a Brisbane side that is ready to pounce for a significant period of time. Even if we say for the next 3 years they are going to be an absolute top 2-3 best team in the competition, if during that time they can snag 2 flags, let's say in the next 4 years, 3 flags in 5 years, that is going to be a dynasty. It's what Geelong did. Weirdly enough, the other thing that Brisbane have on their side is losing a grand final. Now, I know it took Brisbane until 2004 to lose their grand final, which kind of ended their dynasty. I understand that. In 2000, they still played finals, though. But you think of what Geelong did in 2007, 9-11, they lost in 8, which kind of helped. And Hawthorn, before the three-peat, lost in 2012. Richmond had their heartbreaking loss throughout their dynasty as well, although that was a preliminary final, but still, I think we can allow it. And the argument can be made that Brisbane have gone through that as well with their grand final loss to the Pies. Yes, you could also make the argument that the Pies have also gone through their heartbreaking loss with the 1-point preliminary final loss to the Swans, but this isn't a Collingwood video. But I digress. Outside of the academies, they've still been able to have such a big influence at the draft table. Take the guys that they've taken outside of the top 20, for example. You're looking at Ryan Lester at 28, Logan Morris at 31, Oscar McInerney was a rookie draft pick, Jack Payne pick 54, Noah Ainsworth 55, and Harris Andrews at pick 61. Getting those right is absolutely key. And yes, Payne is injured at the moment and he's unlikely to play for the rest of the season. Well, not unlikely, he's just not going to. So whilst he's not going to be there, as we know with the 17, 19, and 20 teams of Richmond and the aforementioned dynasty teams of yesteryear, you're not going to play in all of those games. Or a majority of players aren't really going to play in those games. You look at, say, the Scott brothers, for example, who didn't play in all of them. Daniel Bradshaw for Brisbane. You look at Geelong, a guy like Matty Stokes comes to mind who didn't play in all of those games. The Hawks had a few as well. Whether it's a Max Bailey that retired or whether you've got a guy like Ryan Schoenmakers who ended up doing a knee and then didn't get in. All of these kinds of things are going to add up. So a guy like Jack Payne could easily still play in a flag moving forward, right? That works beautifully. And yes, he's already won one. I understand that. What I'm saying is he doesn't have to miss out on all future success, even if they win the flag this year. And as far as I'm concerned, a little bit like Richmond in last year's draft, if you've got top picks, you've still got to get them right. There is no guarantee you are going to get what you require. And we look at the guys that they have taken in the top end of the draft. Of course, Cam Rayner at pick 1, which took a long time to come to fruition. Hugh McCluggage at pick 3. Callum Archie at pick 8. Darcy Wilmot at 16. Jared Berry at 17. And Kai Lohman at 20. So you add in the fact that all of those have come true. But effectively, with those picks, they've taken the piss as well. So you add all of these things together and it's what they've done right. I do think it is really easy yet unfair to just be like, well, everything's just been handed to them, which it absolutely has not. And of course, where I think Brisbane have got an advantage maybe over a Sydney, for example, is that they genuinely went through, as we know, a real dog shit phase, right? They were bad for a while. And then you got guys obviously like Dane Zorko, who the trade with him, because he was a Queensland Gold Coast Suns zone selection, was still crazy in and of itself. But the other guys that they have been able to trade in order to be successful is massive. And this isn't even counting the Lincoln McCarthy trade that they did because he's not currently, of course, in the 23. But you're looking at guys like Lockie Neal, Charlie Cameron, Josh Dunkley, Darcy Fort, and Sam Day. You look at what they had to give up in order to acquire those assets. They did a ridiculously good job here. So let's go through them all. They gave up pick 6, 19, and 55 for Lockie Neal and pick 30. They gave up pick 12 for Charlie Cameron, which, fun fact, was Darcy Fogarty. They gave up pick 21, a future first, second, and fourth for Josh Dunkley and 2 future thirds. They gave up pick 50 and a future third for Darcy Fort and pick 41. All 4 of those guys played in a premiership. And add in the fact that they got some depth with Sam Day, who is out for personal reasons, and fingers crossed he is okay. Again, fully fit. I'm not sure he makes Brisbane's best 23, but you make those astute decisions in order to make your squad better. And there's no doubt that they are doing that and have done that in a massive way. But where I think Brisbane are going to shine moving forward is they are not going to have to transition their game plan from one generation to the next. If we say in the next 2 or 3 years, and I know that's probably being really insulting, I suppose, to a couple of their veterans, but let's say Zorko and Lockie Neal are not there, and let's say Charlie Cameron isn't either. It's not as if the entirety of their game plan needs to go out the window. The youthful exuberance that they've got at halfback with Darcy Wilmot and Jasper Fletcher is going to suit them in a big way. I think Brendan Starcevich is going to be a bomber next year, but that's just me. But then again, you've still got Ryan Lester, who again may not be there in a couple of years, I understand that, but they are going to have to find a little bit of depth there. Hello, Noah Ainsworth, so you've still got a name there at least and more moving forward. But they are a team that want to kick the ball out of their defensive half. Kitty Coleman, I haven't even mentioned in this video yet, who is just going to be an unbelievable acquisition as he comes back into this side. They are still got midfield depth. Like, you do take Lockie Neal out of that midfield, and what have you got left? Just Josh Dunkley, Hugh McCluggage, the Ashcroft brothers, and then you've got Daniel Annabelle to add to that mix, and you've got Sam Marshall on a wing to accompany Jared Berry, potentially. Like, you're okay. Logan Morris, really young. Kai Lohman, still really young, as we said. And like I said before, Zach Bailey, and Cam Rayner are not guys that are aging. And even in 2 years' time, they're still going to be in their prime. It's scary how good this was and how good the list build has been. So effectively, because they are such a good clearance team as well, they're the number one stoppage clearance and total clearance team in the competition. Now, look, at the time of recording, I don't know what the numbers are against Carlton, but at the end of the day, this is a team that whilst, yes, we can say have had a lot of assistance, they have had to make a ridiculously good amount of good decisions as well. And undoubtedly, they have done that. And I just think they deserve a little bit more credit than just, well, look at what they've been given. They were allowed to exploit the rules as they were stated by the AFL. In my opinion, we should be angry at the AFL and not necessarily at Brisbane. But as long as they continue this high meters gained, high clearance, and fast ball movement game, then when their retirees are ready to come around, their veterans are ready to go, they're sticking around. And if there's any club that I can see following a Geelong-esque period of success over the next 5-6 years, it is Brisbane. Their age profile stacks up unbelievably well. And add in the fact that they may be getting in Oscar Allen and Sam Draper, this is a scary footy team moving forward. So what do you guys think about the Lions? Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to join the Days Talks Footy family, comment below, give me all of your thoughts. I really appreciate you watching the video. Can't wait for Gold Coast Collingwood tomorrow night. Got the Fremantle Hawthorn reaction that'll be up way too late because 8:10 in Victoria is way too late. That's just a Victorian sooking. I don't actually mean that. It's just tongue-in-cheek facetiousness, guys. But enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Keep on absolutely smashing it, you absolute legends. I'll see you after the Gold Coast and Collingwood game.